Glad to be here in Munich. My name is Sébastien Couture, and I'm Technology Evangelist at Stratumn. Over the last few decades, we've seen an enormous push in streamlining inter-business process automation. And while a lot of the communication systems have moved from paper to digital, we still rely an awful lot on trusted third parties in order to secure the message exchanges between companies when they need to collaborate. Insurance companies collect data. And in a lot of cases, they need to share that data with their customers, with partners, regulators, other insurance companies. And although a lot of these systems are digital, we still rely an awful lot on Excel files being sent over email, snail mail in some cases, and the fax machine, unfortunately. At Stratumn, we believe that in today's hyper-connected economy, companies need the tools in order to better collaborate with their partners, their customers, and regulators. And so what we do is we help insurance companies build industry-wide platforms that enable a new type of secure collaborative application to emerge. Our product is called Proof of Process, and Proof of Process leverages peer-to-peer networks, blockchain technologies, cryptography, and it enables this new type of application that won't only improve the user experience of your customers, but also your operations teams. We hope lower your costs and improve your regulatory compliance procedures. So I'd like to tell you today about the work that we're doing in the French insurance space to secure customer mobility workflows. So we worked with the French Federation of Insurers, the FFA, and 14 leading insurance companies in France to build an experimental platform that streamlines the customer mobility workflow. So there's new regulation in France that was passed recently called Loi Hamon, which opens up the insurance market and makes it really easy for customers to switch insurance companies for home and auto policies. So it happens just like you do with your mobile phone. You call a new insurance company, you want to change insurance companies, you just let them know who you're currently insured with, and all of the administrative procedures happen in the background. So transferring the old policy, canceling the contract, making sure any claim-specific data gets transferred over, that happens without you, the customer, having to handle anything. And so the only system, the only platform available to the insurance market so far that was able to provide the certification needed to secure these exchanges is the French Post's electronic registered mail service. Now, this system has a number of drawbacks. For starters, there's no workflow automation. There's no way for an insurance company to streamline this workflow and validate business decisions. Secondly, there's no real-time access to data, which means that insurance companies are sort of left in the dark when it comes to gaining actionable insights into their core processes for things such as simple as providing real-time data to the customer as to where the state of the process is currently at. And thirdly, it's quite expensive, at several euros per message sent, plus all the overhead costs and error handling. There's a massive incentive for insurance companies to find new, leaner solutions for this system. So we've built an integrated solution that streamlines this workflow and provides a single source of truth for all the consortium members. And the data is recorded and stored in a blockchain and made accessible in real time. So we announced this project last week. You may have seen it in the media, and I'm very excited to be giving the very first demonstration here today at DIA. Let's have a look. So what you see here is an insurance company's customer mobility portal. It allows insurance companies to manage incoming and outgoing mobility requests. We're currently logged in as the Cedar Insurance Company. Now, let's imagine that Zoe calls Cedar's contact center and wants to open a new policy for home insurance. So a Cedar employee would take this platform and guide her through the onboarding process, right? This is pretty classic. So enter her personal information. And Zoe's currently insured at Azure, which is a competing company, so we'll make sure to signal that in the platform and any other information she provides, such as contract number, contract cancellation date she wishes. So currently she's got an ongoing flood claim, so we'll add that as a comment. And once we've verified all the information, we can go ahead and submit it. So what we see here is the first step in that process being initiated and recorded in the blockchain. And so we can verify this data and see that the case is currently out for processing by Azure. So what proof of process provides are the tools for your internal auditors and even regulators to look at this process and audit the data in the blockchain. So we can peer into this process, inspect it, and verify the data, their fingerprints, and the signatures behind them. So we know who did what at what time and what order. And this is what we see here. Going back to the sent request list, we can see that Zoe's case is currently out for processing by Azure. So looking at Azure's platform now, notice we've changed interfaces. That's because every company in this consortium holds and maintains its own blockchain node and front-end infrastructure. Now here we're using a web application for demonstration purposes. We sort of changed the header so you can see which one is which. But in reality, a company is going to keep using its own IT systems. They're going to use their SAPs, their CRMs, existing ERP systems, and simply connect to the blockchain network, which provides the single source of truth and allows them to send proofs to the network. So as an Azure employee, I can now look at incoming requests and see Zoe's case come up. And now I can access this case and see that it's been sent to me by Caesar. I see the first step in the process. I see the information. I can also see that there's an ongoing flood claim. So unfortunately, due to internal rules of Azure, I'll have to reject this mobility request and provide the reason, because there's an ongoing flood plain that needs to be cleared before we can move on to cancel the contract. So we see that a second step has been added to the audit trail, and we can now audit this process and see that the data is in fact linked to the previous step. Going back to incoming request, we can see that the case has been sent for processing at Cedar. Now coming back to Cedar, we'll see that the case has come back as rejected. Now what's important to notice here is that all of this data that we see isn't being pulled from some database. It's actually being pulled directly from the blockchain. And because the business validation rules have been pre-agreed upon by consensus, we can have confidence that this is the single source of truth. Now I'd like to demonstrate proof of process's powerful access control features by showing you what happens when I log in as a third insurance company, Marigold. Now if I look at the sent and incoming requests, I see that Zoe's case appears nowhere. And that's simply because the data is encrypted in such a way that only the participants involved in the transaction can see the data. Now I can still audit this transaction using the tools, and I can see the signatures that validated it, but the data itself is encrypted. And so because the business logic is pre-agreed upon by consensus, although I can't see the data, I can still have the assurance that the business validation logic was performed in compliance with regulation. So to summarize, we've demonstrated a solution that streamlines an entire workflow and secures that workflow with a blockchain. And what this enables is actually quite powerful. We can build new types of trusted applications that pull data from a single source of truth and potentially unlock new, exciting business models. And because the data is accessible in real time, it means that insurance companies can gain actionable insights into their core processes. Now, this is just one example of an application built on proof of process. By leveraging this industry-wide network, we can think of new types of innovative applications and potentially new business models that can emerge from this. And we're working very closely with our partners and our investors in the insurance space to build these new types of applications. I'll be at the booth, which is over here, back there. And so if you're interested in learning more about those, I'd be happy to tell you about it. So I'd like to end on this. I think that this is about so much more than the technology. I mean, we hear about blockchain all the time, and that's really not what it's about. What it's about is allowing you, insurance companies, to leverage these platforms and take resources away from these medial back office support, maintenance, managing, error processing, et cetera, in communication with other insurance companies, your partners, and take those resources and put them to good use, to what's actually important, and that's building meaningful long-term relationships with your customers. So I'd like to thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to meeting you all during the conference. Thank you.